we have a game that we both picked up and started playing, and it is a new Ubisoft title, Watch Dogs Legion. It is here. It has arrived, and fortunately, we have some games that are getting delayed, I guess is a good thing. So we're able to dive in. Now, granted, it's like still hard because we're still playing Avengers, we're still playing Ghost of Tsushima. I'm still trying to play other games that I've been playing forever. So there's a lot of things I've been trying to play, but Watch Dogs Legion has finally arrived. And the big thing about Watch Dogs Legion that was the selling point for a long time that people were thinking, like, how is this ever going to actually work out, is that this is a game that takes place in London, in that there is several terrorist attacks and shit hits the fan, and then this private military group Albion comes in that has like unmanned aerial drones and all these things to like add all this added surveillance to give you the false sense of security that you are being protected, even though you're basically being watched, and they are bringing about fear to kind of scare the population into submission, is kind of what I've gathered from the main gist of the story. And you are part of a group called DedSec that has been in the last two games. That is basically like a hacker group that is rising back up to kind of show to the people that, hey, we don't want to be controlled. We shouldn't be controlled. Let's take back our city and get people on our side. So you're starting to recruit people to join DedSec and rebuild DedSec. And after these bombings took place and pinned the bombings on DedSec falsely. So you start as one of like 15 characters you can pick from in a list. And then once you play as them, you can start literally recruiting any NPC in the entire game world by scanning them and deciding if you want to try and recruit them, and then you do a mission to recruit them to your team, and then suddenly that becomes a playable character, and everybody in the game is playable. So how that works, we'll talk about here shortly. But yeah, I mean, I've jumped into it. I played about 2.5, 3 hours, I'd say. So not a lot. So this is more impressions. But Austin, how much have you played?
I probably played about 5. I want to say. So I got it.
So what were your just initial impressions, like diving into the opening intro cinematic and then going into the open world and kind of exploring all that? Tell me how your gauge is right now with Watch Dogs Legion.
So far, I'm liking it. I think they have some good pacing, because it's in Britain or the UK. I feel like my suspension of disbelief is way lower than it needs to be, or than I think other games would be. I mean, again, this is an Ubisoft game, and you're not there for the story. And if you watch the trailers, I feel like you know exactly what you're getting. It's going to be this like quirky, goofy British humor, sci-fi, futuristic kind of world thing where you're kind of, I guess it's kind of like Breakpoint in a way, where you sneak around and stuff like that and do all these things, kill people and do missions. And it's kind of it is open world for that. I guess it is Britain.
It's London.
Yeah, London. Thank you. And so I went in there. The intro was fun. It had enough to keep me going and keep me interested, and the characters seem pretty well acted for what it is. And I'm liking the humor. I'm liking the players or the characters that you get to choose. There are a lot of them, and for a second I thought I saw my person that I chose early on, because I think they allow you to choose like 8 to 12 different people or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's quite a bit, and I thought I saw my a double of my person. I was like, I already they're already breaking the rules, or I'm seeing through the cracks of this game, but I didn't, and I was happy about that.
Oh,
because
nice.
I figured that was like my big thing. Like, how are they going to have this full city where you can recruit almost anybody and not have doubles of people? So.
Yeah, so far, I mean, I've been, so one of the things I first started doing, so when you're first thrown into the game, they set up the scene by you just playing this random person, who you don't really know much about, but he kind of reminds me of like a Daniel Craig, James Bond kind of guy that's like working undercover or whatever, and you're like breaking into Parliament, you're like navigating through Parliament and just learning some of the basic functions of the game. So some of the gameplay elements that they brought into this that exists from previous games is that you can like literally hack anything. And so you hold down L1 and that gives you like a hack menu to like choose if you want to disrupt something or attract somebody to a thing, or sometimes you can even do more, such as literally hacking them or whatever that might be. But there's always like there's areas around the map where you can like hack into like traps to set traps for people as they like walk into something. You'll like electrocute them and like stun them for a little bit, so then you can go up and do like a physical takedown. They have things you can raise and lower in the ground. You can of course hack the cameras to like get better vantage points around you, and then use that to your advantage to like hack into door like consoles to like unlock a door that you're trying to get to, or even like use it to hack into a camera to then take over a flying drone to like become like a flying like patrol once you get certain abilities unlocked. And you have kind of a actually surprisingly simple unlock tree in the game, and it's not really a tree, it's more of a you acquire these tech points as you progress through the game that you get by carrying out missions. And then once they have the whole map of London broken up into districts. So the first district they throw you into is Camden, and very quickly you turn Camden over by doing a series of missions that helps to kind of win the side of the public to be on your side, to see like, hey, these people aren't what they say they are. And once you get them on your side, one, they become easier to recruit because they don't dislike DedSec anymore. And two, it shows you where all the tech points are. So you can go around the map and like pick up tech points and use those tech points to unlock upgrades, which can be different types of gadgets or different types of weapons or different types of ability perks. And it seems like each character can have one weapon and one gadget equipped at any time. So you can kind of have like a loadout for like different characters have different abilities, but there's not much beyond that.
All right. So my thing was, early on, it asks you, do you want to do permadeath on this? And I didn't even realize what I was reading. I just kind of like, I want to play this game, get out of this menu, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't do the permadeath. I did I just don't have permadeath on. So I picked a character, and me and Brett were talking about this, and I was like, well, I thought it was like, one person dies and someone else takes over or whatever. And like, how do you switch between your characters, which you can when you recruit people? And I finally got to the part where it's like, okay, you've recruited a certain character with certain abilities, and now you're going to use that character to go and complete a mission. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I actually switched out and got to experience that for the first time.
Yeah.
And that's what I was worried about. I was like, does this one character just do everything? You can't do everything if you choose to. But I guess for story missions stuff, you will be able to switch character, or they will have you switch characters out to do stuff, which would be kind of cool. And because otherwise I really wouldn't have picked any other character to try.
And I could see as you develop into the game, because I was doing a lot of scanning of characters at the very beginning to kind of just figure out like what the depth is of these different abilities that these characters have. And most characters that run around, like obviously have a different look to them. Like all the characters have, some are old, some are young, some are that you got male, female, you got well dressed, you have poorly dressed, you have all these different variables of characters that run around, and they all have an occupation, they all have a background, they have an age, and they also have like a series of special perks. And some of them will have a perk like for example, one of the characters I scan likes to gamble. So in that, one of the perks you get is you'll randomly get bonus ETO, which is the currency in the game. So it's like Bitcoin, like BTC, but instead it's ETO. You can get random coin because they gamble a lot. So they might get just random money out of the ordinary. So if you have that character equipped at that moment, you might get more money. Or like the character that you and I both picked at the start is a banker who has a direct call to the police commissioner. So a direct line to the police commissioner. So he's got a perk that makes the whole team have less, I guess, visibility to police. So you're not like getting caught as quickly. I saw one that was able to take over drones. So they could control drones. And I know that's one of the abilities that they really pushed in, is that you can take over these big, huge like police drones and like use them to like basically fly around the map without having to go down the ground, and just like hover around throughout all the city and stuff like that. And I think you can use those for, unlocking, reaching higher places certain times and things of that nature as well.
That was cool. I was like, how long can I actually fly on this drone across the city?
Yeah.
Like I feel like eventually someone's gonna find me stuff.
Yeah. Did they?
Especially no, they did. Well, I didn't want to chance it because I was trying to
Yeah.
complete a mission, so I was like, screw it.
Yeah.
But I also find the police system kind of weird because I was just going up to cars and unlocking them. Like, I mean, it was like I owned it and I just got in it and took off. Right. I'm running over people, creating havoc. I'm going past the Albion guys, which are now the police in the city, and no one seemed to care about me at all until you like actually run into an Albion car, and that was the first time. I think I went like 2 hours, and I never got no heat on me for any reason.
Yeah.
But I thought, and comparing it to like GTA, where you kill somebody, the cops are on you. You get that 1 star.
Star real fast. Yeah, I thought that was really weird about the city, and that I mean the city is really detailed. Like there's a lot of detail in there, and the cars look cool. The environment, like going through Camden, like you could tell once you enter Camden, like certain areas of Camden, it got really grungy looking. Like it was just a rundown, like old part of town. But like one thing that I heard somebody mention on a podcast, and then I saw it myself firsthand, is that there's less of the risk reward satisfaction that they had in GTA, because most of the cars in this game are self-driving cars. So 90% of the cars on the road have no people in them. And it's weird to like be walking around. Yeah, if you look there's like an A on the front of the car, and they are unoccupied vehicles that are just driving around. So most of the cars that are driving, like if you look inside of it, there's no body in there. There's no human being in there. And you'll have an indicator. If you go up to a car, it'll either say drive, and if there's an actual person in it, it'll say steal. And then that's when a person will get kicked out. But they're never in the driver's seat. They're always just sitting in a passenger seat because the car is auto driving. So it's like
I didn't even notice that.
It's like a modern, like a futuristic, like here's what the future is going to look like, but it doesn't seem real quite, because you don't have that satisfaction, which is bad, that satisfaction, but of like going up to somebody and ripping somebody out of their car and throwing them on the ground and stealing their car, and they go screaming at you and stuff like that. And none of them retaliate. Like I did have a car that I stole from somebody who they were in the back seat of their self-driving car. I go and grab it, and they just like fall out and just stand there and walk away. They don't like yell at me or chase after me or anything like that. And usually you got people like, want to punch your car, like ripping you back out of the car, or like want to shoot you or whatever it might be. But these Londoners are so nice. Like
it's just the Brits, man. Yeah. Like, oh, whatever. I'll just get another one. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess let's talk about some combat, because I enjoyed it, actually. I think it's pretty simple. I mean, you got the sneak mechanic where you can lock onto cover and look behind walls and stuff, and being able to look around, because there's those areas that are controlled by Albion. So sometimes you have to go into them and release prisoners or steal information or whatever. And I don't really remember playing the first Watch Dogs too much, and I played the second one like very, very briefly, like maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and I was like, this game sucks.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to jump onto a camera to get a bearing of what's going on in a certain location, and then being able to just cycle through all the cameras through the whole like facility or area, and kind of make a game plan, and then go from there. And they have the sneak takedowns, which are quiet and you can beat people up. And if you get caught, you can go into a fist fight with people, which for some reason guys with guns just go straight to a fist fight. They don't go, at least from my experience, they don't actually shoot you until you pull out a gun which has like taser bullets.
Yeah.
So you don't actually kill anybody. You just tase the fuck out. And then they'll pull out their gun. They're like, oh, you're going to shoot me? And then they pull the gun out and start shooting at you. And it is one shot kill in the head. Well, one shot.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you hit them in the head.
So I found it kind of interesting that you have this gun, and it still is really loud. I thought, since it's a sneaking game, that you would automatically have a silencer on your gun, no matter what it shot, but you don't. So as soon as you start shooting, everyone's alerted. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, what kind of sneaky stealth game is this?
Yeah.
You have all this great technology and you can't get a silencer on your gun? Dang it. Suppressor.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I didn't expect that when I first played, so I was like, yeah, I don't have a bullet gun, but it looks like you can't unlock a non-stun gun in the game unless you pick it up from somebody, or you have a character with an ability that has like an SMG or something like that. But it seems like your natural character abilities, when I was going through like the skills menu, is all non-lethal weapons, which is kind of nice because you're not going around there like literally like obliterating and killing
Yeah.
every single person. And it's
Well, the
funny
whole
too
point
because
is you're trying to, you've been framed for destroying people, so I think that's the whole point. Like, we don't kill people.
yeah, there was a part in there where if you go up and stun an Albion person, you can scan them afterwards, and it'll tell you who they're going to be taken to for medical assistance. So I wonder if you can like go to the hospital where they're being taken to and like recruit the doctor and like then just like get information about Albion people, because as you stun a bunch of them, like just get them on your side, because it tells you the exact person's name. I'm like, damn, I want to go track it down and see if I can like find out information about this person,
right?
Get insight from them or something, because that was interesting. But yeah, it tells you like this person's wounded and he's about to be taken to hospital with this person. So that was kind of interesting to see that information in there. But yeah, the combat's pretty cool. I mean, it's
simple.
There's definitely a lot of quality of life changes that they made since like and again, I don't remember much about the second one, but I remember in the first one, it was kind of a pain in the ass, and I had to think a little bit about like you have to hold down, I feel like L1 every time to like do things when you're moving around. And this one's just you press L1, and L1 is always your like interact with stuff and open a menu. If you hold L1, it'll give you a contextual menu, so you're not having to click into multiple menu items. You're not having to like click as many times to do the thing you want to do. So like if I want to identify somebody, I hold L1 on them, and it gives me the profile right then and there of like who they are, what their special abilities are, all that stuff ready to go. And then if you want to add them to your recruit list, you just hold R1, and then anytime in the game you can go back and find that person in the future and then try and recruit them. So like I've just been adding people to my potential recruits list because I see that they're of interest, and then I don't have to worry about them right now, but they're always saved there. So I'm just finding like what all the perk abilities are and gathering like a kind of a hit list of targets that I want to, not hits, but like targets that I want to recruit.
Yeah.
And then later on, we'll go back and do their missions and start recruiting them as I get into that. So I thought that was a neat, quick feature to just like, because there's so many people there. I just want to know what all they can do quickly, but I don't want to sit there and like find somebody, do their mission, and have to like stop my game. But no, you don't have to do that. You can just kind of keep recruiting them and add them to your list, which is nice. But
well, I also did something similar to that, which I found a fight club. And so the mission was to go to all five or six sites and defeat everybody. And at the end, everyone that you fought was recruitable, but you can only choose one. So usually you fight, you fight 4 guys or 5 guys, and they get increasingly harder every time. And so the boss guy you're supposed to fight, he would have or she would have significantly more abilities or perks or whatever that you could use. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So these are all like brawler based people. So I'm curious how that's going to work out in the end. Like if I switch to them, are they just going to be like, no guns, no stun guns? All you're going to do is go in and I don't know. I haven't tried them out yet. I don't know how that's going to fit into everything.
Yeah.
Well, that was cool. Like a little fight club mission.
Yeah, I found one guy. I haven't done the Flight Club mission yet, but I did find a guy that his special ability is melee attacks. So he's like really good at, increased percentage of doing. He does more damage when he punches, and then he's able to block better. So I saved him as like a potential recruit for later on. But I do like the idea of like basically, whereas like normally you're slowly increasing your character's abilities throughout the course of the game. In this game, instead of increasing your character's abilities, you're acquiring a roster of people to switch to based on certain things that you're going to be doing. So like rather than that one character just becoming uber powerful, you have a slew of characters that are pretty good at a thing that you can pick to go in. So you kind of have to, so a little bit more strategy, I guess, involved in it, where like if you're about to have a bunch of like fights, you bring your fighter character. But then if like, you're going to go into a highly secure Albion place, you either pick somebody that's super good at hacking or you pick an Albion person who you recruited to like be able to bypass all that shit and just like get in there like willy nilly, which would be kind of cool too. So there's definitely some interesting like kind of pros and cons, all this stuff. Like I thought it'd be cool to get the janitor and just see if I can like get into places as a janitor, because like nobody would think I was doing anything wrong because I'm a janitor, just sweeping floors.
I like it.
But yeah, some of the things that I do, some concerns I have right now is that I feel as if I am surprised by the dialogue. I mean, I've only played that one character, but like the dialogue is kind of it's British humor. It's funny, like it's entertaining. I kind of do enjoy it. I feel like my character just like jumped in on this. I'm gonna join this resistance group really quickly.
Yeah.
Like was just like, all right, let's do it. I'm down with that. But I do like the witty dialogue that they have in there. Some of the character animations are kind of not great, but honestly, given the fact that I mean there is a much more diverse set of characters in here than I expected there to be. Like I have yet to find any two characters that look exactly the same. And although their perks are very much similar, it's like they have this thing or this thing, but there's a large list of that, and some of them will stack. So you might find one that is like able to gamble or like get more ETO money, and then another one that can get more ETO money and have hacking abilities at the same time. So that's a more valuable character than this other one. And then also, if you complete and take over a district, you get a specialty recruit that is like very good at a thing or a series of things that you can unlock for that. So you'll get like really like better recruits just by just like opening up a new district. So there's a lot of different ways to like recruit different people that have different abilities that I like a lot of this stuff. So like when you first unlock Camden, you get a hacker who's just added to your roster right off the bat. So you don't have to do a story mission for that person. And once you get that, then you're like, sweet, I have this extra recruit that I can then switch to whenever I want to, who has the ability to hack better, and get into things a lot easier than most people would. So yeah, it's there's a lot of pieces to it, and I'm excited that there's an online component that's coming out in December. So I'm curious to see what that adds to the game, like how. There's supposed to be new story missions with that and new just ability, like things you can do with your friends. And I'm curious to see how that plays into the overall concept. Like if it's something that we want to get into and play with our friends or not. It's not a great, like it's not like, oh my gosh, this is game of the year. Like it's not Ghost of Tsushima level in my book, but it is in a year where we don't have that. I mean, Cyberpunk was going to be this for us, but it's not here yet. But I feel like in a year where we don't have that GTA kind of thing, like we've had so many games that are getting into this. We haven't had a lot of games that are like GTA or like Infamous and stuff like that. We're in a big city, like, you know, using modern technologies and stuff like that. We've had a lot of stuff that's like going back to like, hey, let's be a samurai with a sword or a katana, or like with The Last of Us doing like super, super sneaking, like with limited resources everywhere. Like this is kind of fun to just have a big open sandbox to just go and, you know, hack a bunch of shit and sneak around and take over bases and stuff like that. And all those mechanics seem to work pretty well. Yeah,
and I think this is one of those casual games for the year where there's a lot to do, but you don't have to, it's not, you're not, you know, it's not like Ghost of Tsushima where there's a story and you don't want to really jump off the story because you might forget what's going on or how to play. Just something I feel like you can jump in. It's easy to pick up and you just have some fun in it. Do some crazy shit.
Yeah, get some tech points, unlock a few side missions, and find a few recruits. You know, it's pretty fast. And like none of the missions so far have been super long, so it is pretty quick to kind of jump in and jump out. Yeah. As you want to do some things. So
I like it. So far.
Cool. Well, awesome, everybody. That's our first impressions of Watch Dogs Legion. Stay tuned. I'm sure we'll be in the future talking more about it as we get further in the game, further in the story, stuff of that nature.